Good afternoon or good evening or good morning, whenever you're watching this. My name is Mr. Fellows and I'm joined again by Mr. Hall to discuss with you the Year 10 options process. We are going to show you, or it will be available for you to watch, the assembly which we've done for the children in Year 9. But we thought it would be helpful to have this very short summary video for you to watch as parents as well, just with the key dates and key information of where to go to get what you need. So there's our email addresses for, like I say, Mr. Hall or Mr. Fellows, and we're your main points of contact through this process alongside your child's subject teacher. So the key dates we have are as follows. The options booklet and options evening should be available to you now as you watch this. Then in January, the 5th and 6th of January is Parents' Evening for the A-band subjects. Then on the 7th of January, you will receive a password and login details for the online options evening process. The online options process goes through our website, and that is where you will make the choices given using the password and username that's provided for you on the 7th of January. Then the following week on the 12th and 13th of January is Parents' Evening for B-band subjects. On the 21st of January is the deadline for making the options choices. So from the point when you receive the password, you have 2 weeks to make those choices and submit them online.
What you will also find on the website now underneath this, you'll be able to see the video that we created for the students in school, which takes you through the whole process. And then after that, you'll be able to see lots of different subject videos so that you can watch the ones for the subjects you're interested in, so that you can find out as much as you can. So we hope that's helpful and useful. Please do get in touch with us if you have any questions.
Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, whenever you're listening to this. My name is Mr. Fellows, and I'm joined by Mr. Hall, and we're here to talk to you about the Year 10 options process for 2022.
Okay, so I guess one of the key things to start with is to say that this is a big part, this is a really major part of Beacon planning what next year looks like. So some of the choices that you make influence whether we need to find some more teachers for some subjects and how things kind of rearrange from there. So this is a significant step for the school, just as it is for you as well. We need to say at this point that education has perhaps changed a little bit, certainly since parents, many of you have GCSE grades yourselves, but when you got them, they would have looked like the letters across the bottom of the screen. Hopefully you've been used to, in our reports and things, the new kind of grading structure across the top. So you're used to thinking these are 9-to-1 kind of grades rather than lettered grades. You might also have heard people talking about the EBAC. The EBAC was an attempt to make an English baccalaureate. So people that have English and maths and science and humanity, geography or English, geography or history, and a modern foreign language can claim that they've got the EBAC. And the school is certainly one of the things we have to comment on for our results is how many students have gained an EBAC. The annoying thing with it is it's entirely notional. Nobody gets a certificate. You don't get a badge. You don't get a sticker. You don't have anything as a student to say, I have an EBAC, except that you can kind of count them up in the right column and say that. But unfortunately, nobody kind of presents you with anything. So it's a little bit strange as a thing to aim for in that sense. You're expecting to hear that we're talking about GCSE. There are also other equivalences at this point. We would call these kind of level 2 courses at this high kind of grade. So there are some things from the NCFE, Health and Social Care is one of those. And there's also a Welsh examining board who produced this WJEC award that we use for engineering, but they're equivalent to GCSE. Everybody understands in colleges and things exactly what that kind of means. You end up here in an odd kind of blend between things that, like so far, everything we have chosen for you. And in year 10, you choose some and we insist on some. And then in a couple of years, at the end of year 11, you have a completely free choice. So what does the core of things look like? So unsurprisingly, you carry on with English and maths and science and PE. So for English, you end up with 2 GCSEs, one in English language, one in English literature. You carry on with maths. Within science will decide what's best for you. Is it best for you to do a combined science, where you study all 3 sciences, and you end up with something worth 2 GCSEs, so you get kind of 2 grades in one. You end up with a grade like 6.5 or 7.6 or 8.8. You get those 2. Or maybe science will think the best thing for you to do is to take all 3 as standalone separate GCSEs. So you will take a GCSE in physics, and another in chemistry, and another in biology. Within the PE, which again we think everybody needs to do, so that's in our core kind of choice. Within PE, you can choose to do GCSE PE, or you can choose to do sport studies, and more information about that will follow. Outside of that, in the things that become choices, we've kind of separated this into 2 lists. So what you can see on the left here are the ones that you probably recognise, the subjects that you've been studying so far. So you've got a pretty good idea about what these things are about. We've also got 5 subjects that you probably won't have studied so far and won't know so much about. Where we've been able to do it, we've tried to introduce the students to these a little bit with some taster lessons whilst Year 11 been their mocks, but obviously more information, you can read about that later to know more about those. So those are all the choices of things. Can you choose anything? Well, kind of, very nearly. We're still trying to keep a broad mix of subjects here. So we need to insist that you choose either geography or history. We would want you to give very serious thought to carrying on with French or German. And we want to suggest kind of in general that you try and keep a very broad mix of what we do. So we'd really suggest that you don't do 2 sorts of art, you don't do psychology and sociology, and you don't take both sorts of the things over in the tech department, product design and engineering. So it's a reasonably free choice, just under some guidelines to still keep this as a good, broad mix of things to do. In the booklet that, if you haven't got already, is coming to you very shortly, it's a printed booklet. One of the things that you will see in the front of here is a list of the sixth form courses. So you've got some sense of what happens next. And you can certainly see for Beacon the kind of grade requirements that you'd need for each of those courses. And maybe if you've got your mind set on an A-level course, maybe this helps here to see what kind of grades you need to get next and what kind of choices you want to make in that. So we think that's a useful thing for you to see. What also is in that booklet is details for all of the courses. So of course you want to look at that now. You want to read those things at the moment. It's got pages for the core things, which at the moment aren't a choice, and so it doesn't matter. You can look at the English page, but it's not something you're choosing. But actually this would be a really useful thing to keep. So when you start the courses in Year 10, you know what the course outline looks like. You know which the exam board is. Those are kind of questions which in Year 10 and 11 you might find really useful. So don't just throw this away when you finish with your options, but keep this around as being something useful to have.
So we then move on to the question of how do we choose? Well, there's a few things that we've noticed over the years that make a more positive or successful choice for GCSE options. So what do you enjoy? This is a subject that you're going to do more often than you would have done in years 7, 8 and 9. So it's important that you enjoy these choices. What are you good at? We've got the CKA results coming out. You may well have received those by the time you see this. And that should give you quite a good flavour of where you are within that subject. And obviously, we want you to be as successful, and you want to be as successful as possible at the subjects that you choose. What research have you done? So really, this is what Mr. Hall was saying about looking into these booklets, the course design, the structure, the exam boards, and all of those have their own information and their own websites that you can visit to really understand what will you be learning on that course. We don't want students to choose something believing that it might be a certain way and actually realising too late that it isn't what they were expecting. And then will it give you plenty of choice post-16, whether that is here at Beacon or at a college or other sixth form? Will these choices that you're making now open the doors you want to be open when you get to the end of Year 11? And within that, will you want to continue to study that at post-16? I know from my experience as a music teacher that it is really important that students moving into post-16 have done all the fundamentals through the GCSE course. So as an A-level teacher, or if I was working in a college, I would expect students wanting to study music, for example, when they're in sixth form or college, to have done the GCSE music option. And then, does this fit with your career ideas and plans? It is early to be thinking about these things, but this is the first point in time where you've been able to make some kind of choice towards a certain career direction. So do these options keep those doors open to you that you would want? And are they stirring up an interest in some areas that you might be curious but less certain about? If you're in doubt, please do talk to us. Talk to your form tutors, talk to your subject teachers, talk to anyone else within the school who you think might be able to help you make this choice. So on the flip of this, how do we not choose? Please don't choose a course because it looks easy, or I'd say potentially that you've heard from older students that it was easy. Please don't choose things because it's what friends are choosing. Obviously that can be tempting, and in the immediate you might enjoy being put in a class with them, but actually this is much more about your future than how enjoyable the lessons are because you've got friends there. Please don't choose because you like the teacher. Funny one to say, because we believe here that teachers are at the heart of the school and every lesson changes a life, but teachers do come and go, and you may not be placed with the teacher within the subject that you're expecting. So please don't choose because you like your current teacher. And please don't choose because someone else in your family studied it. This is your opportunity, or your child's opportunity, to make your own informed choice for your future. So, some key dates. In December, we have the options booklet and options evening, which is what you are watching now. And we've moved that earlier this year than it has been previously to allow family discussion over the Christmas period. And so this isn't so much of a rush in January. So do please use some of the holiday time that we've got to have these conversations and to do that research we were talking about. In January, we begin very early on in the term with Parents' Evening for the A band. Then on the 7th of January, we will have the online options choices password available. And on the 12th and 13th of January will be Parents' Evening for the B band. And those Parents' Evenings are, again, a really good opportunity within the 5-minute appointment that you have to discuss this with the teacher. Is this an appropriate choice or a good choice for your child? Then the deadline for all of the options process is the 21st of January.
Okay, but please notice as you do that, what you're giving us is your preferred choices, and we will do our best to accommodate everybody, and we would love to run all of these courses. We've not put any courses in here that we're hoping you don't choose because we can't really cope with it. We are ready and willing and really keen to run all of them, but if you are the only person who chooses that course, we will come back to you and say, I'm really sorry, but we can't run a course just for one of you. So we will get back to you fairly quickly if that turns out to be a problem. If you don't hear from us, assume it's good news, but we'll make that clear so that you know. Okay, if you have any more questions, do feel free to get in contact with us and we will help you as best we can.